Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're jumping right in to decode a truly fascinating psychological puzzle. Why do some people dream these massive, world-changing dreams? You know, the type, maybe they even buy 15 different website domains for businesses they're absolutely going to start, but then they never actually take the very first physical step. It's a phenomenon we've all witnessed, and hey, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, it's a trap almost all of us have fallen into at some point. So, we're going to explore the hidden architecture of our own minds to figure out exactly why our brains sometimes actively work against our highest ambitions.
Have you ever had a friend or maybe a colleague who constantly talks about their incredible goals and this completely different life they're going to build, and you just wonder what is truly keeping them stuck in the exact same place? I mean, they can imagine their success so clearly, they might even genuinely believe they're fully capable of achieving it, and yet days turn into months, months turn into years, and somehow nothing ever actually changes. What is that invisible force holding them back?
Well, it's incredibly easy to look at someone stuck in this cycle and just assume it all boils down to sheer laziness, right? Or maybe a simple lack of discipline. We just write them off as unmotivated. But psychology reveals a much more complex and honestly a much more empathetic reality. Your brain is actually exhibiting deep subconscious resistance in order to protect you. This isn't just about not wanting to put in the hard work. There are profound, completely hidden reasons why your mind throws on the emergency brakes before you even back out of the driveway.
Okay, let's dive into our first major mental trap. Section 1, the dopamine illusion, or confusing thought with progress.
This is where your brain plays a brilliant but incredibly sneaky biological trick on you. You've probably heard of dopamine. It's often called the molecule of more, basically the brain's ultimate reward currency. When you sit there and vividly visualize that perfect future, your brain actually releases small amounts of this dopamine. It gives you a premature sense of achievement. You feel completely rewarded, almost as if you have already put in the grueling work. Because you're getting that chemical satisfaction purely mentally, it drastically reduces your physical urgency to take any real action. Your brain quite literally thinks it's already won a race that you haven't even started.
And that sets the stage for an emotional barrier that often masquerades as just having high standards. Let's look at Section 2, the Perfection Protection Plan, the hidden fear of failure.
Here's the absolute core truth hiding underneath all of that intense vocal motivation. People who dream big rarely lack ambition. What they are actually terrified of is what happens if they try their absolute hardest, give it everything they have, and still fall short. It's devastating. So they hide out in the planning phase because a genuine attempt is a massive risk to their self-image. By simply never taking action, their dream remains flawless, perfect, and unbroken. It gets to stay totally safe in their imagination, entirely immune to the harsh, messy realities of the physical world.
Because of this underlying fear of failure, dreamers end up trapping themselves in what we can call the waiting room. A lot of folks convince themselves they need to feel entirely secure, perfectly inspired, or completely 100% ready before making a move. But here is a really tough psychological reality. True readiness only ever arrives after you take that uncomfortable first step. By waiting for the stars to perfectly align, they're guaranteeing they'll stay stuck. It's quite literally like sitting in your car in the driveway, waiting for every single traffic light in the entire city to turn green before you hit the gas. It's just not going to happen.
But sitting in that waiting room isn't actually relaxing. Let's move to Section 3, cognitive exhaustion and the massive toll of overthinking.
Analyzing every single potential outcome and obsessing over every possible obstacle forces the brain to do constant, intense mental gymnastics. And let me tell you, it drains an immense amount of cognitive energy. The dreamer's effectively running a grueling marathon entirely inside their own head, trying to somehow outsmart problems that haven't even happened yet. The really sad result here is that by the time the moment finally does come to take a real physical step forward, they are experiencing severe cognitive drain. They are completely exhausted and totally burned out before they've made a single physical move.
And sometimes the biggest roadblock isn't the scale of the plan itself, but who that plan requires you to become. That brings us to Section 4, the identity barrier, when your mind rejects your goals.
This is where the subconscious really takes control and creates severe cognitive dissonance. Let's say someone secretly holds the core belief that they're just not a disciplined person, or that they're someone who never finishes what they start. It honestly doesn't matter how huge or exciting their new dream is. Actually taking action requires them to suddenly become someone entirely different. And the human brain absolutely loves consistency. It will naturally and actively fight against any actions that force a sudden, terrifying change to your core identity. Your mind will literally reject your goals if they don't match how you internally view yourself.
Which brings us to the final and perhaps the most common psychological trap for the chronic dreamer. Section 5. Addiction to potential, the ultimate comfort zone.
The glow of potential is just incredibly seductive, isn't it? Talking about big dreams feels amazing. It gives you a strong identity among your peers, it sparks this massive rush of excitement, and it offers a sweet taste of future success without shedding a single drop of sweat. But real progress? Oh man, that is often repetitive, frustratingly slow, and incredibly uncomfortable daily work. It can be just plain boring. For the chronic dreamer, it feels infinitely safer and infinitely better to live in the exciting glow of who they could be rather than putting their head down and facing the gritty, slow reality of who they are right now.
If you are recognizing yourself in the concepts we've covered throughout this explainer, please hear this loud and clear. Psychology does not call you broken. Your brain isn't defective. It is simply operating a highly overprotective defense mechanism. It's desperately trying to defend you against the pain of failure, trying to prevent the severe exhaustion of overthinking, and protecting you against a sudden, scary loss of your core identity. Understanding this mechanism isn't an excuse, but it is your very first real step to dismantling those invisible walls.
Having big dreams isn't rare at all. Literally everyone has them. But turning them into reality means taking action even when your own mind throws up every single roadblock we've discussed today. The difference isn't about having some rare natural talent. It is simply about stepping out of the waiting room. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Will you stay safe in the warm, comfortable glow of your potential? Or are you going to choose the messy, uncomfortable reality of taking action today,